One time I had it out of place.
Your hairpiece?
Yeah, not knowing it in the back. And a friend of mine walked up behind me and said David, you got a hole in the back of your head there. And so that's kind of embarrassing.
And you felt like your peers knew you were wearing a fake hair?
They knew I was. I wasn't no fooling them. They know.
That made you self-conscious?
Well, yeah. And your head actually makes it look bigger, too.
You have a hard time finding hats that fit?
Yeah. You had to get a bigger hat, wear your hats bigger. It just wasn't like natural hair, coming out. It was just the mesh, where the hair is attached is a lot thicker than just skin.
What about swimming? Could you swim in it?
I'd be afraid, I'd go underwater and come up and it'd be laying at the bottom of the pool or floating at the top.
Or one of the dogs would get it out of the pool.
Yeah.
Think it was a drowned rat.
Yeah. They jump in and try to save it, or the lifeguard would probably take a stick to it and try to kill it.
Why did it look red sometimes and sometimes it would look really dark? Was that you doing at home coloring, or was it the water affecting it?
The thing would fade. It'd fade like there again, your hair piece is actually going bald, and then it's growing old too at the same time. It's losing its color.
And its luster. Did it have any natural sheen too, like normal hair?
You had to buy that, that natural, to make it look like the natural oils in your scalp. You had to buy that, which was expensive. But once you colored it, if you did it yourself, and if they did it too, it wasn't just me. It would dry it out even worse. And if you've seen people with bleached hair, how they constantly just keep on bleaching, how it dries their hair out, and the ends are so dry and brittle. The hair pieces are a lot worse because they don't have any lifeline, leading to them and everything.
What about hot oil treatments? That just didn't work.
No, it only lasts until
there was no deep conditioning treatments that worked.
Right. Yeah, it wasn't like hair. See, hair, oils itself every day, your natural hair.
Right. And I understand you lost your hairpiece in a windstorm?
Yeah, when I was driving a truck in Nebraska, I got into some high velocity winds. I was in a hurricane in Florida one time, and these winds were higher than the hurricane winds. It's hard to believe it, they were. And it was actually picking up the soil and stuff and the sand. And it was just like being sandblasted. You couldn't stay out in it, very long. It was just like getting sandblasted. If you had a short sleeve shirt on, you might as well forgot it.
Like microdermabrasion to the skin.
Yeah, right. But anyway, I had to walk out and open the back end of the doors so that the people could load the truck. And they're all bundled up and everything, protecting themselves. The winds are ferocious. It took 3 people just to open the back end of the door up, with everything they could because the winds were so high. And if one let loose of it, the others had better get out of the way because if it hit them just right, it could, break their arm or break their back even. And anyway, it picked my hairpiece off my head, and it took off for a country mile, and I had to chase it. And like I say, if I had a string on it, I could have flew it like a kite real easy. But I had to chase that booger down, and it was devastating, And then
how long do you think you ran after your hairpiece?
Probably, if it hadn't got hung on a fence and a tree, I'd probably run about half an hour.
Oh goodness.
So.
And that's a lot for driving a truck. You weren't used to doing a lot of cardiovascular exercise.
Well, I didn't do it that long. But my hairpiece didn't do any either.
What about King Tut? Do you think that he is self-conscious about his lack of hair?
No, he's probably bald and bold with it. He's beautiful. And that's what we should all be, I think. Be as natural as we can.
Accept their imperfections.
Yeah, accept them, That's the way God made it, and I guess that's God's.
I think Lulu agrees. Now on that note, we'll call
I think
it
she does too.
close.
She
to
said,
this
she said,
interview.
what you sick about my